Start this hour in Georgia, where protesters there have pledged to continue with demonstrations after Parliament passed a law on Tuesday barring what the government calls foreign influence. Protests around Parliament continued into the early hours of Wednesday. The law would see any organisation that receives more than 20% of its funding from abroad being subject to stronger government scrutiny. The White House has called on Georgia's president to veto the law, saying it is similar to measures seen in Russia. Well, let's go live now to our correspondent Rayhan Dimitri, who is in Tbilisi for us. Rayhan, what is it like there now and what can we expect during the day?
Well, outside Parliament, there are lots of graffitis that appeared overnight. Graffitis saying this country is ours, or Russian Duma. This is the reference to the MPs that voted in favor and passed this controversial law despite 3 weeks of protests. A lot of people remained in the streets into the early hours of Wednesday, and we're hearing that students are coming back later today at 3 p.m. local time. A lot of students are boycotting their classes. They're not attending their lectures in protest against this law because they believe that they are right now fighting for Georgia's future in Europe.
Yeah, we saw your very dramatic reporting yesterday because this comes after weeks of demonstrations there.
That's right, more than 3 weeks, and over this time we saw tens of thousands of people taking to the streets to say no to the Russian law. But yesterday, of course, once the law passed, and preceding that was a serious kind of very tense situation inside the Parliament where MPs clashed. There were fistfights, and also outside Parliament the situation was very dramatic. Here's how the events unfolded.
They marched in with a warning against the protesters who have been demonstrating outside Parliament for weeks. Protesters stood defiantly, refusing to move away. And then violence. All in the name of a contentious law which protesters fear will mark the end of Georgia's democracy.
You get a sense now they're moving more intensely. And the protesters are beginning to boo. They're being pushed away from this square.
We will be in the EU. We will be in the EU. Freedom to the Georgians.
Georgian people are standing for their right to make a decision, which is to be against this law. We do not wish it. It is dragging us back into the same hole that we finally crawled out of.
A similar foreign agents law exists in Russia, used there to crack down on government's critics. Georgians worry the same thing might happen here.
They are liars. They are Putin's guys, you know. They are doing Russian work here.
Earlier, MPs from the governing party passed the law after a debate turned into a brawl. The authorities defended the bill, saying it would help protect Georgia from foreign interference. Critics suspect the government is trying to protect the interests of one man, Bidzina Ivanishvili, a billionaire who made his fortune in Russia.
That is also intrinsically very Russian, to defend the interests of one man against the interests of one nation.
These mass protests have been driven by Georgia's youth, standing up to defend their national dream of a future in Europe.